this channel is to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. And I want you to understand really quick a very principal thing that you need to understand in the healing process, which is simply this. You are not crazy. You are conditioned. You see, narcissists use a tactic, not just of lying, and not just of cheating, not just of manipulation, not just of isolation, but they use a tactic called gaslighting. And gaslighting is like lying 2.0. It's not just a piece of trying to get you to believe a false reality and believe something that's not true. It's trying to make you doubt your perception of reality, of what you actually saw, what you actually think is true. A narcissist wants to be able to have you question every single aspect about your life and about your world, because if he can get you to question you, well, then the only thing you have left to is to turn to him. And that's where he becomes the sole provider of all of the supply, all of the thoughts, all of your reality. And simply you keep coming back to the guy over and over and over because he controls the narrative. He controls what you believe. He controls your reality, which is what gaslighting actually is. Gaslighting is when a narcissist not just lies to you, but convinces you that you're crazy, that you didn't see what you saw. I did this many times with my own wife, where she would see text messages on my phone and be like, that's not what you saw. You're just imagining it. I didn't mean it like that. That was just a joke. That was just a prank. Doing all different types of things to discount what she saw, to make her question and doubt herself. This is what the narcissist is doing. He's trying to make sure that you doubt every single aspect of what you see that is real. This is why he has to isolate you from other friends and family. This is why he has to pull you away from people that could speak truth into your life. Because he doesn't want you to find out any truth at all. Because he's lying to you. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about what's happening. He doesn't care about your life. He doesn't care about your thoughts, your feelings. All he's trying to do is make sure that you don't believe what you think you believe, or that you don't believe what you actually saw. And if he can get you to do that, then he writes the narrative for you. Narcissists rewrite history. They go back and they change the past to confuse you and to justify their mistakes. He goes back and he rewrites history, meaning he changes what was true, switches it to something that's false. How I work with people is helping them rewire. And the difference inside of this is we have to help you look at what was false and what you believe that's false in your life and switch it back to actually what's true. But the narcissist rewrites everything. He goes back and he's like, that's not true. You're misremembering that. You don't remember what you were talking about. That didn't actually happen. You're crazy. You're making this up. All of this switching around to confuse you. This is gaslighting. One time I was working with a client and she gave me a story of one of the biggest moments of her life that had gaslighting in it. She was standing in the kitchen talking to her husband, and they got into this big argument. And the argument kept going and going and going and accelerating until finally he came out and he said something extremely rude. And she was like, I can't believe you actually said that. And he's like, what are you talking about? I didn't say that. And she was like, yeah, you did. You just said that. Well, at the time they had security cameras, and for some reason they were on and they were recording inside that house. And so she actually went to the iPad, pulled up the security camera that was there in the kitchen, replayed the conversation, was like, see, you said that. He was like, no, I didn't. And he said it with so much certainty that she started to doubt her own eyes. She started to doubt what she actually heard. She started to doubt what was happening. So she took the iPad and went to friends and family and other people and being like, what did you hear? Like, what did you hear from this? Because this is what happens. A narcissist will be so confident that he didn't do what he said he did, that he didn't do what you saw. This is gaslighting. It is mental warfare, psychological abuse, confusing you. The narcissist in your life will continue to do this over and over and over for as long as you stay stuck in his cycle. What questions do you have about this? The gaslighting, the manipulating, the second guessing, where you don't even know what to think, what's right, what's wrong, what's up, what's down. You're at a place where you're so confused. It's not because you're crazy, it's because you've been programmed. Drop any questions that you have about this down the chat. I'm here to be able to answer questions, give clarity, and help actually provide a step-by-step way for you to be free, mentally and emotionally. If you want to know more about that, you can go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. But what questions do you have? Drop them in the chat right now. When we're talking on the topic of like gaslighting, the psychological warfare, we're talking about all these pieces that's confusing you. If you were to record them, then they would get mad because their enablers can't unhear it 100%. Narcissists hate to be recorded oftentimes. They'll switch up how they actually show up. They'll switch up how they're talking, how aggressive they'll be. Simply because, oh, I'm getting recorded. Because they don't want to actually get exposed. Drop any questions down below. Gaslighting, psychological abuse, dealing with all this. What's coming up? Is that so they avoid shame? Yes. The biggest piece for lying and gaslighting is so a narcissist avoids shame. So he runs away from it. Shame avoidance is the biggest piece that the narcissist is running away. If he can gaslight you into believing, well, then that shame doesn't exist, quote unquote, right? It still exists, but he's trying to avoid it. My mom does that when I try to bring her up, calls me crazy when I bring it up. How do I deal with this? There might be a reality that she's not willing to actually face the truth. So in that regard, you're going to have to limit some of your contact, some of your interaction with your mom. Simply because they're going to turn everybody against you and they're going to make you feel crazy. You're putting yourself in a situation, or you're in a situation because you have to be, simply because of this reality that she's going to lie and convince you that you're not even true. When they tell you that always the problem is that gaslighting, yes, especially if you're not the problem. A narcissist will be the problem and he'll convince you that you're the problem. A narcissist is like playing this whole game with a narcissist is like you're playing Monopoly with him, and then he starts to lose and then he throws the Monopoly board off the table and then blames you for moving the pieces. Like that's what he's doing. He's gaslighting you into believing that you're the problem when he's the one that's instigating all of it. He's the one that's starting all of it. The gaslighting is a piece that will make you feel absolutely insane because you start to question yourself. You start to doubt yourself. Did that actually happen? Did that actually go on? Like, what actually happened there? Mine started drinking because he didn't want to admit that he was with someone. 100%. A lot of nurses will have different addictions. They'll find different things so they can hide from themselves. Shame, guilt, trying to avoid who they actually are, trying to actually deal with and run away from it. Gaslighting isn't real. Bullshit. Get off this platform. I don't have time to deal with idiots like you. Gaslighting is real. Gaslighting is very real, and it's done by many manipulators and many abusers to convince other people that they're crazy. And when they're convinced that they're crazy, they won't do anything. They'll stay. They won't actually leave. They won't actually get the clarity that they need to get out. So they stay in a toxic relationship longer. They get mentally and emotionally beat up, physically beat up, long term. Why do they always say something like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, because they want to be able to already imply that something's wrong with you. Do you think he ever feels bad for the immense pains that he causes? No, he doesn't. He doesn't even think twice about it. He typically falls asleep and he doesn't even care because the pain that you feel is him feeling better about himself. That's it. He doesn't care about the pain that you're feeling. Is that still the trauma bond? Gaslighting can keep you in the trauma bond, for sure. Is it possible to realize you're a narcissist by being with one? Typically, you don't have two together. It is possible, but if you think you're a narcissist, look up the 9 traits and start looking to see what is actually there. What do you need to work on? 20 years of marriage, he pushed me and our 2 kids out. We left, tried to get back only on our anniversary and Christmas. Why is that? That's the time when he knows that you're going to respond, that you're going to let him back in. Whether that's communication, whether it's seeing, whatever it might be. Narcissists oftentimes are going to reach out on popular times, anniversary, Christmas, because who would say no on Christmas, right? Who would be rude like that? That's his thought process of that's how he's going to get in. This is what he's going to do. He's going to continue to lie to you, going to continue to cheat on you, going to continue to rob you of your life. But gaslighting is going to be a big piece of this because he has to get you to think that you're the problem and that he's not. Gaslighting to be able to change the storyline, to be able to switch the narrative. They truly think that we deserve it. No, you're looking at this the wrong way. The narcissist doesn't care whether you deserve it or not. He thinks he deserves to not have shame and guilt, and if that means you get hurt by it, that's what he cares about. He doesn't even care if you deserve it or not. He doesn't even care if you're good enough or not good enough. He doesn't even care if he likes you or not. It comes down to him. That's all it is. Fighting the urge to reach out to my ex-narc who cheated and ran when I caught him. Is that the trauma bond? Yes, done. That's the trauma bond. Please reach out for help. Go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough so I can actually show you how to break free from the trauma bond. If we don't shift it, you will reach out. In a time of weakness, in a time of pain, it'll be a place where you'll just feel comfortable when you reach out. Cannot find the strength to block him, okay? Then don't block him. Let's work on helping you heal so you do have the strength. Right now, if you don't have the strength, that's okay. But you need to have the strength to be able to start investing time and energy into you. Go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Let's have a conversation. You can book a free call there. We can start talking to be able to figure out how to actually help you move forward. Some people are ready to block and then they can just move on. Some people need a system and a process to actually find healing. When you're dealing with the gaslighting so much, it produces a level of confusion that then brings you into cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is this two pieces of like, what do I believe? His words or his actions? He said this, but he's doing this. What do I actually believe? Cognitive dissonance is having two different thoughts and not knowing how to be able to make sense of both of them. So oftentimes you'll come up with another story. He's just having a hard time. This is because of his childhood. He's just stressed out at work. You'll come up with a lot of different excuses to stay in the relationship when there's no fruit, there's no evidence, there's no results of him actually getting any better. But instead he'll keep telling you, well, something's going to be different. It'll eventually change. I'll get into therapy. All these things will continue to tell you will happen, but they never will. But those keep you stuck. Inside of all of this, gaslighting is a real piece. That's going to put you into a place of cognitive dissonance. It's going to put you into a place of survival mode where you're trying to figure out, how do I actually move forward? How do I actually heal? What do I do? And I have you operating in a place where you're just like a zombie kind of walking, trying to figure out, well, I'm just going to do one thing, then do another thing, then do another thing. But it's not actually living. It's simply staying in survival mode, trying to grasp for an idea of what to actually believe in because you've been convinced so much that you can't even figure out the truth. Makes you doubt you. Makes you doubt your gut. If it was that bad, it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, like minimizing it. Why do I feel so bad about planning to move out when he's not there, although I think it'd be dangerous to do so while he's at home? That's all the trauma bond. It's making you feel guilty for causing him hurt, even though it's his consequences. Piece inside of this is you're getting not just lied to, but you're getting gaslit over and over and over again, shifting your mindset, rewriting history, confusing you about what's actually going on. And you get to this place where you wonder, how can I even trust myself again? As you guys are tuning in, I'm a self-aware narcissist that's on this channel to help provide liberation for women that are trapped in toxic relationships, either mentally or emotionally, or they're physically still there. Maybe you're out and you're trying to figure out how to heal. Maybe you're still in the relationship. Drop any questions you have down below. Max literally thought I was faking my stroke to avoid an argument, even though I was in the hospital. He knew I wasn't faking. He never apologized. Why something so serious and no apology? One, because he didn't care. And two, because it was probably an inconvenience to him that you were doing that. And three, it was probably something that he would think to do to be able to get out of an argument. Let's see what you're going to say after you have kids. I do have kids. Thank you very much. My mom blames me for my dad's death. Is that gaslighting? It sounds like it could be. How to deal with women who have traumas with previous relationships, help them heal. I left him and put a restraining order on him. I don't think they'll reach out, but I need help. He's pushed everybody away. Heidi, please reach out. Go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Watch a quick video, fill out a form, and book a free call. Let's have a conversation. Let's see where you're at. He's blocked, but he still comes around. Yeah, because he's still going to try to get through. If he can trigger you, he can control you. If he can still get you to react or respond, he can control you. He's going to continue to do this over and over and over again. This is why the healing space is so important, because when you get to a place where even if he comes around, there's no reaction, there's no response, he'll eventually get bored of it because he's not going to actually get what he wants. It was to tell my mom died on Wednesday, is contact him to tell him still the trauma bond. Why would you need to contact your abuser? Even if the person died, like, there's no reason to contact him. He can figure it out on his own. All you're doing is you're trying to justify contacting him. That's it. My ex is lying about a baby not being mine to emotionally torment me, 100%. He couldn't have fooled me for so long if I hadn't been so invested in helping him fool me. Sometimes the guilt of that eats me alive. Jane, 100%. A lot of times people want to beat themselves up. But here's the thing. You didn't know back then. Like, a lot of times people want to beat themselves up in the past being like, wow, I was so stupid for being with this guy. I can't believe I stayed so long. Or why would I do that? Well, inside of this, you have to understand, you stayed so long because you were trying to either help, you were trying to be either fix, but you also stayed so long because you didn't know. You didn't understand. Me try to justify or look for milk in the hardware store. Yeah, you're just trying to justify. So the piece inside of it, Dawn, is please reach out. Like, let's have a conversation, because inside of this, we have to be able to help you heal fully. Because otherwise, that trauma bond piece will still be there. It'll still be open. Many times people, the guilt that will want to eat your life. Let's go back to that really quick. Consider for a moment, you didn't know, you didn't understand back then. If you did, you probably would have made a different decision. The difference is when you look back at the past. Think of it like this. When you were 4 years old, you don't look back at yourself at 4 and be like, wow, it's so stupid because I didn't understand algebra. Why? Because you didn't learn it yet. You hadn't understood it. You didn't go through school for that. But what you'll do is out of the relationship, you'll look back 2 years in the relationship and be like, oh man, I was so stupid to stay in that relationship. I should have known better. Well, if you knew better, you would have made different choices, but you didn't, simply because oftentimes you didn't actually know what you were dealing with. Don't judge the past by knowledge you have in the present, because that gets really confusing for a lot of people and leaves them stuck beating themselves up over and over and over. We have to help you rewire your mindset, shift the mental construct of what you're believing, because otherwise you'll tell yourself a bunch of stuff that'll just leave you stuck. Fail for his commitment, his lies. He was using me for all I did make his life go good. It made it easy for him. Yeah, because it wasn't about you. Like, it was about what he wanted. So as soon as he got what he wanted, then he'll split. Then he'll do whatever he wants. Been over 5 years. We have known each other since we were 5 years old and spent our childhood together. Our families knew each other. And that means there's plenty enough people that's going to let him know. Do you hate your own kids? No, I don't. So can you love? Yes, I can. Narcissists can love, but the difference is working through the ego. You can't personalize it. If not you, it'd be someone else. That would be the same thing to someone else. Narcissistic and addiction, how to deal with. You have to deal with the addiction. If they're not going to get rid of the addiction, there's no, you have no game plan to even deal with the narcissism. Signed up for the 7-day challenge, having a hard time navigating it, looking for the way for the phone call. So if you're having a hard time navigating it, go to send us an email at support@rawmotivations.com or respond back to the text, because we typically send out a text each day when people are signing up. We can guide you through and help you through it. When you're at this place where you feel so crazy, whether it's from the gaslight, from the lying, from the confusion, a biggest piece that comes in is a lack of trust then for other people, because you're like, how would I trust anybody? How would I trust me? How would I trust another person? How would I trust another coach? How would I trust a therapist? Like, how would you trust anybody? And it's not because you have this giant piece that needs to get fixed of trusting other people. It's trusting you. Because gaslighting is attacking not just your thoughts and opinions, it's attacking your core of who you actually are. It's attacking a big piece of you that would have that gut instinct that this isn't okay. That would have that mindset of something needs to shift. That would be like, wait a second, this is wrong. You have to rebuild trust with you again. If you don't rebuild trust, it leaves you trapped mentally and emotionally long term. Like, the trauma bond is real. The trauma bond is the biggest thing that leaves people stuck. It's the mental and emotional addiction to this guy, from cognitive dissonance, from the hope and the potential, from the intermittent reinforcement, all the things that are going to leave you stuck and keep coming back to this guy over and over and over again. You'll be like a dog who vomits and then goes back and eats it. That's how it is. You're like, I know this, I shouldn't do this is gross, but then you go back to the guy every single time. Why? Because it's a trauma bond. It's a piece that actually has you psychologically wired to come back to the same guy over and over and over, the same type of guy. You could go different guy and it'd still be the same type of guy, because if healing doesn't happen, you repeat the patterns over and over. Narcissists will continue to gaslight you to make you doubt yourself. That's one of the biggest pieces. If he can keep you in confusion, he doesn't have to do anything else. If you just stay confused, you don't move. You stay in the same exact place. Narcissists contacted me after a year of no contact, wanting to tell me what happened with us. Why? Just another way to be able to contact you and get back into your life. Get a response, get a reaction. You already know what happened, which is why you're separate. He didn't care enough about you to actually make any difference in the relationship. Because of all this, trust no one is to trust everyone equally. What about shame? Does that affect you? Yeah, it does. I've worked a lot through it to be able to help rewire shame and shift how it actually affects me. It doesn't affect me as much anymore, but shame affects a lot of people. Shame is one of the biggest things that narcissists are running away from. It's what I ran away from for years. I didn't want to confront it, didn't want to deal with it, didn't want to open up to it. Like, shame is a big piece that I would be like, nope, I'd rather lie, gaslight, steal, like whatever I had to do to be able to run away from it, to be able to hide. Mine said he wanted a divorce. I tried to do the divorce paperwork with him, but he would not look at it or touch it to help me with it. Yeah. Because he doesn't want divorce as far as from him. He wants you to have to do it, so he can still look like the good guy. When you question them, then they start a fight, then it's about that fight, and they blame you for starting it, 100%. Narcissist is going to gaslight you and switch things around. Shift the mindset. How many of you have been stuck in this, where it's like an endless loop of the same conversation over and over and over again, dealing with the confusion, dealing with the gaslighting? If you guys are new here, coming on here, I'm Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to help people actually understand what it is and how to actually break free. I work with women that are in or out of the relationship they can't figure out how to heal, and show them how to rewire their mindset. Because if not, you will start to not trust you. You'll not trust anyone simply because you're at the place that you're so confused and you're so lost because he's gaslit you into believing nothing. You won't believe your own reality. You won't believe what's actually real because he's sold you a lie for such a long period of time that you start selling yourself the same lie. The worst part is not when he's gaslighting you. The worst part is when you take up that. When you take up that role and you're like, well, this is what he's always told me, so it must be true. And that's where he's got you. Because at that point, you can't do anything because you're still under his grasp. You're still listening and thinking and doing the same thing as what he wants you to do every single time. Narcissist wants to keep you confused. If you don't have clarity in your life, you won't make a move. How can I get him to leave when now he's being nice? Well, if you live in the same place, that might be a little bit hard to do. Unless you're on the house and he's not, then you can evict him. Otherwise, it's a piece of like, you have to break up. I can't get him away from me. There's a lot of different pieces that are diving into that. Like, need a little bit more specifics to try to help you. But like, what do you mean by that? What do you think about the guy who's been flirting for almost a year and didn't take any step further? I tried to stop being in places where he's in. Sounds like he just has a high just off of the flirting. Like just a high off of getting a reaction or a trigger from you. Whether he's going to do anything about it doesn't sound like it because it's been like a year. What other questions do you have as we deal with narcissism, healing from it, the gaslighting, the cognitive dissonance, the survival wiring, like the rewriting versus rewiring, all the different things we've talked about so far? Like, what questions? Drop them into the chat. What about if a narcissist leaves? Are they gone for good or they might hoover? They're probably going to hoover. I always say be ready for a hoover because otherwise he's going to wait till Christmas, till a holiday, till Valentine's Day, like sometime when you're feeling down and then you want to actually reach out or you'll respond to him. Playing the move out game and come back. When I want him, he runs and leave. When I want him to leave, he won't go. Okay, so want him again, let him run and then change the locks. Why do they discard and ghost and act like they never knew you? 11-year marriage, totally blocked, ghost, divorce without a word. Typically in that scenario, you found someone else and he wants to be able to just wipe his hands clean, move on to someone else. And then it'll probably happen again with someone else. Like it's a constant cycle. It was forcing him to divorce, and then during divorce, he wouldn't do any of the requirements, but then filed for a continuation on the dismissal date, 100%. Because he doesn't want to actually do this. Like he doesn't want to look bad inside the divorce piece. Right? Like inside of everything, how I used to show up, like I would never want to follow through with the divorce piece. Why? Because then I would look like the bad guy. I wanted my wife to look like the bad guy so that I could look like the good guy. How do I stop feeling like he's the only one I want and can make me feel better when he's the one who hurt me in the first place? One, you need to write down a list of like 25 things that he's done to you and read it every single time that you feel like, oh, he's the one. And two, you need to understand that you have a trauma bond, and until you actually rewire that, you're automatically going to be conditioned to go back to the same guy over and over and over again because you're addicted to him. You're addicted to the chaos. You're addicted to the confusion. You're addicted to that bond that's there. And until we actually break it, it'll continue to happen. This is where I want you to reach out. Go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. I'll walk you through some mistakes that you might be making that might still be leaving you stuck in the relationship, and also be able to book a free call so we can talk. How do you know when they've discarded you or they're just trying to get you jealous for or get a reaction? The discard is all dependent on you. It's not dependent on him. That's the piece a lot of people get confused. They're like, when is the final discard? The final discard is when you make it the final discard. If you keep allowing him back in, he'll keep coming back in over and over and over. People are like, well, he's never going to come back. I know one guy that came back like 29 years later. Like, never say never. Focus on your own healing. Does it cause narcissistic injury when you tell them you know who they are and call it the lying, gaslighting, manipulation, and leave? Not necessarily. They'll just compartmentalize it, move on to the next person. This is why it doesn't matter if you even call them out. The big focus is your healing. For 5 years, I thought about contacting the new supply every single day when I wake up. Not a revenge at this point, more to show her how he's cheated on her more than ever. Advice, yeah, don't do it. Because one, he's probably already programmed her and conditioned her to not believe anything you'd say because you're the crazy ex, or he's told her a story. And two, sometimes you'll actually bring that into their life as a quote-unquote hardship, which will actually bring them closer together. It's one of the worst ways to do it because many times it will lock them tighter in a relationship simply if you come out and you start talking to her about it. How did you and your wife heal? Is there hope for reconciliation? There's no hope for reconciliation if he's not honest, vulnerable, and showing consistent growth and change. I'm not on here to give you hope that he's going to change. I'm on here to give you hope that you can heal. Because if I can transform, that means you can actually heal. If I can put in the work to rewire my mindset, to shift who I am, to shift how I'm showing up, to be able to eradicate all the lies and the gaslighting that I did toward myself, that means you can actually get out of his abuse. But you have to understand, you can be free from this. And I'm not here to give you hope that he can change. I'm here to give you hope that you can heal. Why the evil and cold discard? 14 years of marriage. She acts like I'm a stranger, wants to end the marriage, but still wears our wedding ring. Because she's probably telling other people that she's still together just to be able to look good. You want to warn others, but no one knows better than us. They will not see until they're ready. 100%. Yeah, because a lot of times, like Jane's right, a lot of times you'll even see in your life that you were warned, or that someone said anything and you pushed it away, or drew you closer. I want freedom. I love people. This is awesome to try to change my worldview. Yeah, biggest piece is we have to help you shift your worldview, because if you don't shift your view, if you don't shift your perspective, you align with his perspective. That's where we need to get you out of. Many people are stuck in the trauma bond because they haven't shifted their perspective. They haven't been able to break the trauma bond. The confusion, the gaslighting, the lies is so much that you're there. Like, this is the hard part, is you get to the place that you're not stuck because of him. You're stuck because of the story that you're telling yourself. You're not stuck because he's told you that you're stuck. You're stuck because you're telling yourself that you're stuck, simply because he's confused you so much, he's gaslit you so much, he's lied to you so much that you don't even know how to find any clarity or truth in your life. This is what I do. I actually walk women through this process to finally have the breakthrough that they need, to finally have freedom from the trauma bond, from the mental, emotional addiction, from the confusion, from the chaos, all of this to bring you to a place to know that you're not crazy, you're not alone, you're not helpless. But you can live a life with clarity, with confidence and certainty. And I can show you how. If you go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough, there's a short video. You fill out a quick form and book a free call. You can jump into one of our challenges. You can talk to me. We can start working through this piece of like, where are you at? How to actually help you move forward. Where are you at now? Where do you want to go? What are the challenges in between? Because if we don't actually heal the bridge in between where you are to where you want to go, nothing shifts. Everything stays exactly the same. This is why you've been stuck for such a long period of time. Is lying, disappearing, false promises, etc., emotional abuse? Yes. I think mine went back to my ex, and she's a narcissist too. Isn't true most narcissistic people don't think anything was wrong with them, and they don't change or want to. 100%. A lot of times they don't think anything wrong with them. They know that something's wrong with them. Let me phrase that. They know that something's wrong with them. They're not willing to admit that something's wrong with them. Did you ever call other people narcissistic? 100%. The easiest way is to be able to project and blame it on other people, and it is to accept it. Beautiful hope based on a lie. I cannot believe I fell for it. It's Hollywood worthy. Yeah. A narcissist is going to sell you a lie. He's going to future fake everything. I can't comment. You just did. I hope you pulled our retirement. It's just awful, and the damage he continues to do. He's going to continue to do that damage. Like, oftentimes the narcissist won't stop with what they're doing until you make an end to it. Until you figure out what needs to be the stop. Till you file the divorce papers. Like, a lot of times the narcissist is going to continue to do the same things over and over and over again. My husband therapist said he isn't narcissistic. How do they get diagnosed? He's a good actor. So understand inside of this, there's probably a lot of things in your world that are abusive. So whether he's a narcissist or not, doesn't matter. What matters is you're looking at the emotional and the mental torture you're going through. Don't put up with it simply because the therapist says he's not narcissistic. One, there's a lot of really screwed up therapists out there that have no clue what they're talking about because they look at narcissism from a book and they have no clue how it actually applies in the real world. I filed down, he's so sweet, it's disgusting. Yeah, it's all manipulation. All manipulation. So why did you change? It wasn't because of my wife, it wasn't because of my kids, it wasn't because of anything else in my world. It was because I realized and understood that if I wasn't honest with myself, then nothing was going to change. And I was going to continue to have the dead-end cycle over and over and over again. My narcissist literally acts like he hates me and I'm the worst person in the world. Yeah, because he has to believe that so he feels better about himself. Like, he has to do that so he feels better about himself, so he doesn't deal with the shame and the guilt. Projection, how does projection work? It's simply just like when you think of a projector projecting an image on a movie screen or projecting an image on a wall, right? It's taking something and it's putting it on a wall and it makes you think, oh, that's on the wall. Now you know that it's not because of projection. But what a narcissist is trying to do is trying to put something on you that's not actually true. It's not actually real. It's not actually there. Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of other people who treat you proper. You're valuable and deserving love. 100%. It's a great comment. When you're in a toxic relationship, you get to a place that you don't think you deserve better. You think you deserve to get used and abused. I'm scared to be alone. Is that the trauma bond? Yeah, 100%. Because if you look at your life, you've probably been alone for a long period inside this relationship. Does shame or guilt ever catch up with them? Typically, no. There could be a piece where they're completely alone, that maybe the shame and guilt, but at that point, it might collapse them versus actually have them change. Now that I called him out, he's trying to be nice, so nice, and he has nowhere to go. Yeah. When you try to hold a narcissist accountable, that's when everything shifts, right? Because he doesn't deal with the truth. He doesn't want to deal with the accountability. He doesn't want to deal with the reality. He only did the hoovering a few times, but now it's like I reach out and he hates me, but then he'll do nice things once in a while, completely checks out. Yeah, he's just doing it to keep you cycling through. Inside of all this, I want you to understand the main piece inside of this tonight. Like, you are not crazy, you're just conditioned. And he's conditioned you over and over and over. He's conditioned you to believe his lies, conditioned you to believe the lying, the gaslighting, all the things to be able to shift your mindset, shift your thought process. Jessica, yeah, reach out. Go to realmotivations.com/breakthrough. You can watch a short video, fill out a quick form, and then schedule a call or jump into one of our challenges. My spouse says I am a narcissistic gaslighting psychopath. I just don't know what I can do to convince him I haven't cheated on him. If you haven't cheated on him, then understand he's doing that and he's projecting on you. You're not going to convince him because he's never going to believe it, because he doesn't want to believe it, because he's probably cheating on you already and he wants you to admit it so he feels better about himself. I'm going through a divorce. How do I rip off the mask and use evidence against my ex-narcissist wife and their family? 2 years, no contact. Typically, you can't use narcissism as a way to be able to put it inside the court system. Mental, emotional abuse. Sometimes you can have different pieces inside of there. Emotional neglect. There's a lot of different other pieces. You can't use narcissism inside the court system. They don't recognize it. Okay, so never cheat on him. So the pieces inside of that, he's just projecting onto you. So he's probably already doing it, or he wants to convince you that you are, so he feels better about himself. I think part of what woke me up was being around men at work who treated me with genuine respect, no flatter manipulation. Yeah, very different. All right, inside of this, if you've resonated inside of this live, just the conversation we've had so far about not being crazy, a conversation about gaslighting, about the intermittent reinforcement, the cognitive dissonance, all these different pieces that we've talked through just tonight, then that means there's something there. I want to help provide clarity for you in the midst of the confusion, in the midst of the crazy making, and I do so by going to realmotivations.com/breakthrough. Or if you're watching this later, you can just comment breakthrough and I'll send you the link. But inside of this, the main piece is providing you with clarity. Give you an idea on the first call what we do. We sit down and we get really clear about where you currently are, what's happening, what's affecting you right now, what's keeping you stuck mentally and emotionally, what's eating at you physically, what's hurting you spiritually, what's getting you stuck on the business forefront. Like, what is that actually affecting you and impacting your world right here, right now? And then we talk about where you want to go, what it actually looks like. And then we start building a bridge of what needs to shift, what needs to change, and what are the challenges that you need to face to be able to get to the other side, and how I can actually help you move. Because if we don't break the trauma bond and teach you how to be able to rewire, change the story in order to be able to change your life, if we don't teach you how to process your triggers and emotions, if we don't teach you how to say no and build a healthy boundaries, if we don't teach you how to have purpose inside of knowing who you are, then a lot of times you'll be stuck. That's the biggest piece inside of this, you getting free mentally and emotionally. If I can help with that, you can go to realmotivations.com/breakthrough. Would love to be able to have a call with you. Love to be able to talk to you. You can watch a short video, fill out a form, schedule a free call, or jump into one of our challenges. Coming up in July 12th in Orlando, Florida, or you can zoom in anywhere from the world over Zoom. We're actually running a Reclaim workshop. You can learn more about that at realmotivations.com as well. The option to be able to see how to actually be free mentally and emotionally, how to break free from the toxicity, from the chaos, from the things that are leaving you stuck. That's what I do. If that's where you currently are, feeling like you're crazy, feeling like you're stuck, feeling like you don't even know what's right or what's wrong, what's up, what's down, then it's time for you to reach out. Go to realmotivations.com today. I want to be able to help you move forward in the healing process. If I can help with that, realmotivations.com. You can go to realmotivations.com/breakthrough. We can have a call. Either way. And the goal is to be able to help you have clarity in your life and ultimately have freedom. So thank you all so much for being here. Y'all have a blessed and a wonderful evening. Reach out. Reach out with all the questions. Y'all have had a great amount of questions. But we're wrapping up for the evening. Just remember that you're not crazy. You've just been conditioned. Time for you to actually be free. Y'all have a blessed, wonderful evening. We'll see y'all next time.